This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Hello and welcome to another Superbike show here on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester and we are very much live from Motorsport Radio HQ in the heart of England, up north. Yes, and for the next hour or so we will be having a chat about everything that happened over the weekend at Alton Park and to dissect and discuss everything that happened with me once again. Please welcome back onto the show. It is Kiko Alexander-Giles. Hello there, Kiko.
Good evening, Lester. How many weeks have we been doing this now?
Too many, it seems like, I think.
Too many?
Well, yeah. Welcome back anyway.
Yeah, well, I'm here and we're going to be talking a lot on tonight's show. There's a lot to get through. British Superbikes, World Superbikes, and a look to the Aragon Grand Prix this weekend for MotoGP. Can't wait.
Indeed, and if you are tuning in to us live, maybe for the very first ever time here on Motorsport Radio, then hello and welcome. You are welcome to get involved in the show and join in the debate. So if what is probably very likely, you hear me saying something unintelligible or something nonsensical or something really kind of dumb and kind of newbie, then yeah, that you can join in and tell me. And equally, Kiko Alexander-Giles is here for you to vehemently disagree with and argue with all evening as well. So it's at M Sport Radio on Twitter, it's Motorsport Radio on Facebook, and you can either use the comments box in one of our streams as well. So Kiko, as well, before we get into all of the BSB news and everything else, I should probably tease you that I haven't done already. Big tease tonight that we have some, I suppose, 1.5 bits of breaking news. Big breaking news for some BSB riders. But we'll tease you about that a bit later as well. Because
we'll get onto that when we get to British Superbikes. It's good. It's not news, it is rumours. It is rumours,
yes,
and it is some interesting spanners in the works. I think that's the technical term for it.
As one person hears something in a paddock, it eventually Chinese whispers, and then it gets told to someone else as though they're going to race in Formula One. That type of rumor. And so we have it on good rumor authority. So I'm here with my cup of coffee for this evening. Let me know as well if you what you've been doing and what snacks you're consuming for tonight's show. That'll be
bottle of Coke in glass bottle tonight, I'll tell you.
In glass bottle. Well, other Cokes are available, like Pepsi, even cherry flavoured Pepsi, I believe, which is not bad. A big hello to everyone who's already tuned in. So without further ado, Kiko, let's begin by breaking into some news.
British Superbike news. Lots of it. The 2017 season has only got 2 rounds left, 5 races, but 2018 is quickly approaching. So you guys at home watching this and people listening online will want to know, well, where's everyone going for next year? I can tell you, the Paul Bird Ducati squad is already signed and sorted. Shane Burns stays, we knew that anyway, but Glenn Irwin has signed another year deal to stay with the team. Interestingly, he also goes to the Northwest 200 again to defend his crown over in Northern Ireland. So that's very interesting as well. An announcement is going to be due in 1 week's time from the Bournemouth Kawasaki team. Pete Exton's JG Speedfit team are announcing their lineup next week. So that's just in time for our show next week, Lester. So we will be able to talk about that next week. I expect that it will stay the same. The rumour mill has it that Leon Hasdon will not be going over to Pichetti World Superbikes after all.
Because he was rumoured to perhaps be looking at a ride over there.
We had sources to me say that in May that he'd signed and gone over, but it's all fallen through by the sounds of it, or there's been a change of heart on one side of it all. So that's a shock. Well, it's not a shock. It is a shock, and it's not. You know, Aston doesn't want to leave if he doesn't want a BSB title. So, but anyway, their lineup is expected to be announced We're not so sure on Josh Brooks yet. He will decide, I'm fairly sure, after Brands Hatch, because Josh has a job to do. He's come back to the championship this year with a big point to prove, and he's going to prove that point before any decisions are made. Interestingly, though, the shock of the year, you could say, Jake Dixon, he will stay for another year at the RAF regular and reserves Kawasaki team run by Lee Hardy. That's going to be the third year in that team, second year on Kawasaki. But apart from that, there's loads of rumours going around. Tommy Bridewell, what's he going to do for 2018? Some say that he's going to stay with where he's at WD-40. Others, we're not so sure. James Ellison, again, we don't know what the McCann's Yamaha team are doing for next year. They might stay, they might not. They are the factory sported team, so Yamaha might need to put some more money into that for them to feel wanted. Who knows? But it'd be a shame to lose them. There's loads and loads of teams. FS3 going to be back next year. I spoke to Nigel Snook on Sunday. They will be back. We are awaiting a rider lineup as of yet, and we also await a rider lineup for the remaining 2 rounds if Billy McConnell is not fit. So that's a very interesting point as well. Apart from that, we can almost certainly say Sean Winfield will stay at Tag Racing because it's run by his dad. Gearlink will more than likely stay in the championship. Will they run James Westmoreland or not? I'm not so sure. We'll find that out later. Rumour has it that Richard Cooper will step back up to the Superbike team, the Superbike Suzuki team from the stock Suzuki team, and Bradley Ray will move across over to the Bennett side. And it's no secret that Martin Halsall wants to put Joe Francis on a Superbike for next year. That's one of his plans, at least. Anyway, we will find out in the coming weeks. Peter Hickman is another one. We don't know. Lots of people saying he's already signed for Tyco. Other people saying that he may have signed for Smiths. We will wait and see. The big question mark is Honda. Rumour has it both of their riders are leaving, so who's going to come and fill their boots? It's a massive option for a lot of movement, which already makes me excited for 2018. Simply amazing.
Wow, that sounds like quite a lot of heavy rumour, let's say. I won't call it news because it's not. The
Glenn Irwin and Jake Dixon is definitely confirmed. That's already done. So that is what we can say. But a lot of it is, like you say, rumour.
Yeah, and it'll be certainly interesting to see how it all develops or unravels throughout the coming weeks and over the winter. Talking about riders and their injuries and such. How are people getting on? How's Andy Reid now? I hear he's out of hospital.
Yeah, Andy Reid, I believe, broke his femur. Which is not the greatest injury you could have as a motorcycle racer. You never want an injury anyway, but scaphoids are always the unfavoured injury. Femurs, anything to do with backs or legs.
What did he do last year? Because he out the...
It was his wrist last year. That's another one you don't really want to do. You can hack a broken toe, or you recover from concussion, but leg breaks and arm breaks can take a little while to recover. But Andy Reid looks like he's out for the year. Last time he broke his leg, he was out for another year. So will we see him on the grid for next year? I'm not so sure. Will Tyco BMW keep him on the grid for next year? I don't know. That will, again, all be revealed very soon. Looks like I'm going to have to get my spade out and do a little bit of digging at Brands Hatch.
That's you always seem to come up with the goods anyway, and we always see a slew of stories on the Pit Crew online for the website that which I neglected to mention Kiko actually writes for, and hello Pit Crew and the Pit Crew on 2, which is I think the bike.
That's the bike side of things.
Split off from that.
The only relevant side of things, because everyone knows that bikes are the great sport on Earth.
We've had a couple of comments flood in already, yes, on the I think the Facebook Live stream as well. Dean Tullock says, Alistair Seeley, discuss. Maybe we will, or Kiko might. Anyway, later. Tony Morris has been on. Hi, Tony. It's good to have you with us once again. He's saying regarding the rider you was mentioning earlier, he isn't there because his dad is the boss. Sean funds his ride through sponsors.
Yeah, definitely. But what I was alluding to is he doesn't. Why would Sean move? It's like there'd be no need for him to move because he has effectively a seat where he is because it's his dad's team. So all he has to do is find the sponsors, and he knows that he's not going to be kind of got rid of. So that I wasn't saying that he's getting it just because it's his dad. He still funds his ride. It's definitely not for it. Like it's not there. It's not given to him because it's his son. Blah blah blah. Rob's not giving it to Sean because Sean's his son. But Sean doesn't see a reason, and he said this to me. He doesn't see a reason why he'd move anywhere else. Why would he move anywhere else?
Well, why would he? It's
there you are. It's
the family.
Family run, there's just no requirement for him to move.
Exactly. Although I have known people to get fired from their family business before.
Okay. Is that why you're doing Motorsport Radio?
It was a previous job of mine that I knew someone. It wasn't me. Anyway, incidentally, moving away from that. That's the big breaking news then. Just give us a quick reminder for some of the people who've joined us a bit late from other Facebook groups then. The big breaking news, or big rumours that you've heard, Kiko, what are they?
Well, the news is that Glenn Irwin and Jake Dixon will stay in their respective teams for 2018. That is already a given. We knew that across the weekend. The rumours are about Tommy Bridewell. What will he do? Will he stay where he is? Will he go off and do road racing? That's another rumour for Tommy Bridewell. What will we see? Will we see Dan Linford go to Tyco, which is rumoured? Will Danny Buchan step up to the Superbikes? He's been rumoured to do that. There's a lot of stuff going on. There is also more rumours about Honda's riders leaving. So we don't know. We will find out, obviously. But we don't know how true all these rumours are. That's down to me and other people to go and get a spade and do some shoveling.
Is it just a case sometimes, and I know it is, but I'm asking anyway, is it just a case of perhaps having a bit of a suspicion? I do the exact same thing. I hear things in various paddocks, and I'm sure you do, probably more than I do. You hear things and you put two and two together, and then you see a rider talking to, having a discussion, and someone who's not directly related to the team that they're currently with at the moment, and then you start to go, ooh, I wonder what they're talking about. Could it be another ride? Oh, and then things get discussed online, and then things either get rebuked by said rider or team boss, or they actually end up going through and actually happening. So
exactly, you get a lot of hearsay. Someone says this, someone says that. He said he signed for here. No, he didn't. He signed for this one. Oh, he's had 7 offers from Formula 1 teams. Well, it doesn't happen. There's some that you can straight away discount, but there's others that have got credibility. So, like Honda's riders, maybe both of them are leaving. They've been together for 3 years. Maybe Honda feel the need for a change in their riders. Others, like I don't know. There are just others that are just so out there. Like Shane Byrne, I've heard rumours already that Shane Byrne's looking for a ride next year. Well, he's not, because he contracted till next year anyway. Paul Bird has said that their lineup is remaining the same. So, that's one rumour that you can just discount straight away. Yeah,
so if you've heard stuff on surely not Kiko's Facebook group, is it officially your Facebook group that you...
Well, I was kind of given it, so... I don't know. I wouldn't class it as mine. I just...
You was given the poison chalice of a Facebook group with a lot of... are you already starting to feel the admin stress really, and the weight of people's complaints about...
I haven't had I haven't had too many complaints, really. I'm sure I'd find out about them.
I talk from
bad one person already, but no, it's not. No animosity with us bike fans, Lester. It's you car fans we've got to look about.
Okay, fair enough. There we go.
There is other news away from rider lineup, I must add, and I have it here. Had a good conversation earlier with the team boss of Morello Kawasaki. They don't look like they are going up to the Superbike class for next season. Looks like they're going to stay in Superstocks. And they have replaced Fraser Rogers for the Brands Hatch meeting with Josh Day.
Is that confirmed?
It's confirmed by the team on social media, and it's confirmed down the other end of my tin of beans from Steve Buckingham, who runs the team.
Okay, had to ask.
So, yep, that's definitely happening. The team expected a little bit more of Fraser Rogers this year. It's been a bit disappointing, so they have they've replaced him with 1 round to go. Looks like Josh Day is maybe being considered for a rider for next year. Who knows? We'll find out.
Well, if you are tuned in to us live, either on our website, motorsport.radio, or via one of the many places that we're streaming right now live, either on YouTube, on Periscope, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, on, I think, what is it, Ustream or Daily Motion, something, then, get in touch with us. Let us know if you think that any particular rider is going to head off to a particular place. If you know something that we don't, and you've got a bit of juicy gossip under your hat.
Shall we do it, Lester? Shall we do it? Shall we throw that teaser out there? We said we'd do it.
Yeah, well, you don't blink. I mean, it's all you, this.
We said we'd do it.
So, Kiko's got a thing.
I had a conversation with a rider this morning. I will not say whose name it was.
I've forgotten who it was, to be honest, who you said it was.
Well, but I will not say whose name it was. But he is interested in going Moto America for next year. Yeah,
Moto
I remember
America
now. Is the American Superbike series, effectively. So, yes, we may be losing one of Britain's young talents to Moto America. And, of course, that would make sense because they've just raised their prize money to $800,000.
What, for the season?
Or $1 million, obviously paid throughout. But interesting stuff. So yeah.
So who is it again? What was the name?
I mean, that's for the public concern. If you think you know, let us know in the comments section or tweet us M Sport Radio at MotoGP Kiko. Let us know. Who do you think this young rider is heading off to Moto America?
I see. Okay. Well, Tony Morris says Keith Farmer is ready to step back up to Superbikes. Maybe Honda.
That'd be a dream, I think. Question is, rumour has it that Appleyard McAdam, who run Farmer in the Supersport class, are going up to the Stock 1000 class. So, again, rumour. Is it true? Is it not true? I'm not sure. I think Keith Farmer would be a great fit at Honda, as I do think Christian Iden would be a great fit at Honda. He's very good with the pits. 5-lane is coming good in Britain, so it makes sense for that to happen. I'd love to see Keith Farmer back on a big bike. I was actually meant to catch up with him this weekend, but I was so run ragged, I just did not have the time. So I apologise there, and I will do, like I say, I'll get my shovel out and do some digging on that one. Keith Farmer has said he's not hid away from the fact that, you know, a superbike ride is ideal. That's what he wants. But I
think everyone wants a superbike ride, don't they?
But he would settle for a Superstock 1000 ride. Supersport was not in his plans for 2017. Unbelievably, he still leads a championship, so it's not doing too bad for someone who did not consider the series he's winning at the start of the year.
And another comment has flooded in as well from Adrian Cooper. Hello, Adrian. Thanks for tuning in. He says it's criminal if Danny Buchan doesn't get a superbike ride, presumably for 2018. Surely, he says, he's ready for it.
I think he's ready for it. I think he's had the year he needed in Superstock 1000 to, I think, get a bit of confidence back, in all fairness. You know, he said at the end of last year he didn't really know what he's doing. He kind of got a bit lax with his training. So I think he's had the successful year he's had. He can go into Brands Hatch now at the end of the year and score top 5, and he's won the championship. So there's not a lot of pressure on Danny as far as results are concerned. He's not really been out of the top 5 all year. So Danny Buchan can go to Brands Hatch with a good lot of confidence, and if he wins the championship, as someone said to me, whoever wins the Superstock 1000 Championship will get offered a ride. Whoever doesn't win the Superstock 1000 Championship won't get offered a ride in the Superbike class. So that will be
Is it will it be as clear cut as that?
I don't think it will be as clear cut as that. I think because the other rider who's in it, Richard Cooper, if he was to finish second, he already, I believe, will go up to the Superbike class anyway. You know, I think it's a logical step for him. I can't believe he's not in there myself now. So, no, Danny Buchan definitely deserves another chance on the Superbike. I've got to remember, when he went up last time to the BYD Kawasaki team, that was a new team. He was a development rider, effectively. And when he went to Motor Repeat, that was the first time that he'd really been off a Kawasaki in about 4 years. So, again, not very accurate representations of that lad's talent. So it'd be great to see him back on a bike that has been in the championship for a few years now and has had reasonable amounts of success. Danny could transform the bike, Danny could make it a winner. So we shall see.
How's your dinner going down, Kiko?
I don't know, I had that really well. This is not right, does it?
No, we noticed.
My dinner is going down fine. It's still 2 hours later.
Good stuff. So the actual results from the weekend at Alton, if you weren't at Alton yourself or you didn't manage to watch it on TV, then I made a prediction last week for some bizarre reason. I got overconfident and made a prediction and said it would be a burn double. It wasn't at all. It was. I forget now. But yeah, race number one on this.
Race number one. Well, race number one was drama from warm up. Jake Dixon, the poleman from Saturday qualifying, lost the front down into Lodge, destroyed the RAF regular and reserves Kawasaki. He had to start from pit lane. The bike wasn't fixed by the time the grid needed to be formed. He didn't make the next step, which was the back of the grid, so he had to start from pit lane. He did a sensational job of carving through the field. He got to fourth place. Yes, a few people fell off and retired in front of him, but he still stayed on. He finished fourth. So in race one, my ride of the race went to Jake Dixon from pit lane. And he, of course, is a showdown contender. We cannot forget that. Jake Dixon has got the pace. He is in the showdown. He can win the championship this year, mathematically and realistically. I don't think it's too far-fetched to say he's got a shout of it.
Yeah, so we'll get onto the showdown in just a moment.
We will. So that was drama. And then the race itself, Dan Linfoot cleared off at the front. I honestly thought it'd be the first back-to-back Honda win since Alex Lowe's in 2013. On lap, with 4 or 5 laps to go, wasn't the case. Dan Linfoot's bike blew up down into Island Bend, which is a very fast left-hander in the middle section of the circuit. And that was it. Game over for Dan Linfoot. Heartache for Honda. And Leon Haslam took victory there. It was John Hopkins in second and Josh Brooks took third. So Josh Brooks did make a podium out of it all, which wasn't too bad. I don't believe it was too bad. I believe Josh was third anyway. So it was okay. It was a good race. It was a shame it was cut short, and it was a massive shame for Honda because I think that their bike is good now in the wet and in the dry, and it just was not deserved. You think that maybe. If it just held out, if the race was just a few laps shorter, or if this, or if that, or if they just chuck something new in, and you think all these things, and then it just goes wrong. So gutted for Dan Linfoot, but race 2, he made up for it. Dan Linfoot won an incredible race, without doubt. I think race of the year, race 2. For many reasons. Dan Linfoot's first ever dry weather win, his second win in 3 races, his second career win in British Superbikes, the Honda's second win of this season. Second was Leon Haslam, fought very hard. And third, and am I happy to say this or what? Bradley Ray from 10th on the grid, row 4. He come through 3 rows to get to where he did, fought through, caught the leaders hand over fist, and he was just 0.114 off a win. That's around an 1/8 of a second off a win. That was incredible. So Bradley Ray, third, and the first podium for Suzuki this season. It's the closest they've been to a win since Josh Waters won at Brands Hatch in 2014. It is the closest podium, I believe, of the year. It was the first podium for Suzuki this year, which means all manufacturers represented in British Superbikes have had a podium, and also it levelled with the record number of podium finishes in the year, 15. If Sylvain Guintoli can get on the podium, we will have 16. We will have 16 podium finishes, the first time ever
I think from that second race towards the end, because if I remember rightly, it started off wet or raining or drying. It was
dry.
Drying.
The circuit was more or less dry. It was a bit sketchy into the first turn, but more or less apart from that, it was a safe run to home. So,
yeah.
You know,
I think maybe another few more laps in the race, perhaps, and Brad Ray, he was definitely hustling Haslam and Linfoot, or maybe Haslam was stuck behind Linfoot. Perhaps it didn't seem to be,
because Haslam did hit the front at one point, and Linfoot got him back with half a lap to go. So you know,
they had a nice
the result was the result. But I actually went and spoke to Chandler Warren Gray after the race. And I said, yeah, brilliant result, because, you know, I get on really well with that side of the team. Mega happy for them. And he said Brad was going for the win. He wasn't sitting there in third. He was going for the win. So we have a very exciting young prospect there. When we get to Brands Hatch, which will be another circuit that he's already been to, we will see, again, another top-class performance from Bradley Ray. Big breakthrough this weekend. The momentum is with Brad. He is the only rider who, out of the last 7 races, has finished all of them in the points. Him and Jake Dixon are the only 2 riders in the last 5 races to finish all of them in the top 10. The young guns are coming good.
It might seem like for regular listeners of the show that we are kind of big, huge fans of Brad Ray and Jake Dixon. We like them. They're fantastic. Well, there's as anybody who watched race number 2 would you just can't argue against it to see what Brad Ray did and the way he was riding.
He was the only rider in the 1:34 bracket.
Got the fastest lap, didn't he?
Fastest lap, and he was, he was about, on some laps, half a second quicker than the leaders. He was well faster than the leaders. He made a few mistakes, didn't worry him. He got back with them. One of the best rides I've seen all year from a young rider. Rivals that maybe doesn't quite top that of what Jake Dixon did back at Knock Hill, but Bradley Ray, what a ride. 10th to 3rd. Brilliant.
Yeah, certainly. Brilliant. And I don't know, I mean, other riders in their, let's say, downtime or spare time or in between BSB races, I know some people like to go do some motocross, some people obviously like to do some road racing and some other bits. Brad Ray is one of the only rare few I can think of, come to mind, that regularly jumps on a mini bike in between BSB races, goes racing competitively, albeit for fun, but actually regularly racing, not just like a one-off thing for...
No, he does it.
He does it, and we're expecting him this weekend as well. Now, it's not confirmed that he will be there. If he's got any sense, he won't be there because, you know, you don't want to risk anything, especially when you're on such an amazing form as he is. But it would be fantastic to see him at the next round of the Coolfab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, which is this weekend at Glanagors in North Middle Wales-ish. We'll be there anyway, Motorsport Radio providing, hopefully providing live coverage, internet signal depending, and yeah, it would be fantastic. Of course, we'll grab Brad for a word or 3 for an interview, and it's fantastic to see, and he's...
He is off the Coolfab production line.
Yeah, another of the I mean, it will soon be in a couple of years' time. It will be the only place to get to MotoGP or to become a BSB champion. You would have to go through Coolfab Racing.
You have to go through there before you even get to the Talent Cup.
I mean, right now there is still a bit of a couple of different ways in, and some people come from off-road racing and stuff, and that's fine, that's good. But using Brad Ray as the example at the moment, others have come through and done it and gone on to be world champions, Danny Kent. But Brad Ray is of the moment, and it's fantastic to see. He's literally a product of Coolfab Racing. So yeah, it's great to see. And once again, we'll be there this weekend providing live coverage. Sorry, I was interrupting with my promotional things.
I was going to say, just to emphasise how good he is, shall we do a rundown of the championship?
Yes. Let's do that because I've got my tab open. The championship. Now, before we do this,
yes,
are we confirming that O'Halloran's definitely out of it? He's on 517 points right now.
He's 54 behind Haslam. Realistically, yes, he is out of it. Mathematically, of course, no, he's not. He has to go to Brands Hatch within 75 points of whoever the championship leader is. So at the moment, it's Leon Haslam. I'm not so sure.
He's an outsider.
He is a massive outsider, you know. But then again, we go to Holland, you know, the Netherlands. You know, we go to the Netherlands. It might be cold, might be wet. You know, we might have another crash fest like we had at Silverstone, and this time it might be Jason O'Halloran who comes home with the bacon. So, you know, it's not all done. There's 5 races left. After Assen, we will know who can still win this championship. But let's get on with the showdown top 6. So Leon Haslam came into the championship not leading it. Came into the round not leading the championship. He leaves the round leading the championship. 22 points ahead of Josh Brooks. Then it's Shane Byrne, who's 1 point behind Brooksy. 4th for Jake Dixon. 5th for Peter Hickman, who is 41 points back of Haslam. And like we just said, Jason O'Halloran is 54 back of Haslam in 6th place. 7th place is Christian Lydon ahead of Luke Mossey. 9th for James Allison. And 10th for Dan Linfoot, who has won 2 races in the last 3 races themselves. That's brilliant for him. Irwin is next. Glenn Irwin signed for another year, staying with Paul Bird and also going to the Northwest to defend his crown over there. John Hopkins is second. Is 12th. Second was second in race 1. His second podium, I believe, of the year. And 13th, like we just said about him, Bradley Ray. Bradley Ray is 26 points ahead of the next Suzuki. He is only 25 points behind Dan Linfoot in 10th in the championship. If Bradley Ray took a top 10 in his rookie year in the championship, that'd be a story to tell and a half. So Bradley Ray's 13th, and Michael Laverty and Sylvain Gintoli. Tommy Bridle had a bad weekend. He crashed out of race 1 and had visor issues. I believe his visor was torn off, actually, in the second race. So that was an issue. So he retired out of both races. You know, until... where was we? Cadwell. I think it wasn't until Thruxton, Tommy actually didn't drop any points throughout the year. He like you said, just looking at his history of the season, and he's kind of had a real nightmare second half. It's been very difficult. Well, you say second half, he has had. He gave Team WD-40 their best ever result with 6th place at Cadwell Park, race 2. So it's not all been bad, but it's been far from what Brent Gladwin and Tommy Bridle would have expected. I know Brent reasonably well. He set goals at the start of this year, which he is now reflecting on as maybe being a bit unrealistic. But as is Tommy. You know, they both set goals. They've not been met. So I think they might be disappointed with the year. But it's been productive as well, especially for the team. They have had their best results and they have not been crashing out. Tommy Bridle's motivation has been there. He's definitely come back in the last 3 or 4 rounds. But below Tommy Bridle, Jakob Smertz, Taylor McKenzie, James Westman has had a reasonable few rounds as well. Martin Jessup, and then the absent Billy McConnell, Davide Giuliano, or Italian Dave as he's known in British Superbikes, is out of it. He's back at Red Bull Honda at World Superbikes. We'll come on to World Superbikes a little bit later on. Andy Reid is injured. Aaron Zanotti, Sean Winfield and Joshie Elliott are the last of the point scorers. Interestingly, Josh Elliott, we mentioned Morello Kawasaki earlier, he will be riding again for them. I believe they have a test plan for him, and it looks like he might be one of their riders for next year. So all good for Steve Buckingham's team running out of Norwich.
Very interesting. So there you go. All the latest on the situation, the showdown, and the rest of the standings, which is largely kind of irrelevant. It's mostly just for pride and money, of course. But sponsors and stuff want to.
Exactly.
It's not all about the top 6.
It's personal performance. There's plenty of battles outside of the top 6, but there's enough in the top 6 to keep us going.
Exactly, yeah. And I'd like to, in my mind, I want to keep on thinking that, like I said, it's not entirely about the top 6, because there are fantastic performances. There's a whole grid full of riders and bikes all performing brilliantly. And
well, it's been a very competitive year this year. Probably the most competitive, dare I say it, that we've ever had in British Superbikes. Now, we say it year on year, but it really is this year. 9 race winners, 15 podium finishes. I alluded to the fact earlier that it is the first, or the most podiums in a year, joint with 2015, I believe. I don't think we have had 10 winners in a British Superbike year since 1998. Now, here's a challenge for everyone watching. Name me the 10 race winners in 1998.
10 winners in 1998?
10 winners in 1998. I will take part now.
Well, they can probably just go into Google and check Wikipedia straight away.
I tried double checking and I can't. You'd have to go on YouTube, I believe. But I'm going to try and see if I can get.
There must be at least somewhere. But
probably.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, incidentally as well, I had a question which I've instantly forgot because. It is, yeah. I wanted to. That's what I wanted to ask. Your rider or riders of the weekend, not just in BSB, but in any of the races, which I want to get to touch on in just a moment before we talk MotoGP. But overall, then, Kiko, who are your standout performances? Who would you say if you had 2 trophies for riders of the weekend for, let's say,
well, if I can have 2 riders from each class, then we'll do it.
Or you could just give your 2.
If I had 2 medals to give to the best riders this weekend, definitely Dan Linfoot and definitely Bradley Ray in the top class, because in the British Superbike class, that was fantastic. Dan Linfoot was mugged of a double, and that's sad in a way. It's quite sad, really. You know, Dan's never had any luck really in British Superbikes. But finally, in race 2, it came his way. Bradley Ray as well. Had a very good first race as well. Finished 7th in race 1. So Bradley Ray, like we say, is coming good. So that's my 2 medals in British Superbikes. In British Super Sport, Ben Curry, what a ride! What a ride! He went swimming on his slowdown. It was a very good ride. He won both races, a double-double for Norma Dibiduff's team, McGeer and Kawasaki. 1-2 in both races. It doesn't get much better than that. And then in Super Sport, like the second rider, Jack Kennedy, because he came from the back of the grid. You know, came from the back of the grid. That is hard work. That is a lot of hard work. So definitely Jack Kennedy gets another medal. In the Super Stocks, it's a hard one.
I think was it the Stock 1000 that was on an unscheduled televised race because of the delay or something? Am I right in thinking that something was on?
Might have been the Stock 6s, because they don't normally show the first race straight away. So it might have been the Stock 6s. We'll come to that in a moment. Stock 1000s, Danny Buchan, definitely, because obviously a second and a win, and he nearly mugged Cooper in race 1. On the Saturday. In fact, he more or less mugged himself. He ran out onto the grass, going out to show all his hairpin. So definitely Danny Buchan, and I'd probably say Richard Cooper actually for the second one, or the joint medal. Good ride from him, and he kept the championship alive, of course. So very good there. In Stock 600.
And I didn't actually, unfortunately, see any of the 600s.
No, the Stock 600 was an interesting one. Again, technical regulations being brought into dispute. We will come to that later, but if we was to ignore that, I'd have to say my Vickers, because that ride he did in the wet was mesmerised, and he finished 2nd on the road. Unfortunately, I believe there's been an issue with some sort of disqualification of 3 riders, and sadly Ryan's one of them. But Ben Luxton, brilliant. I'm so happy for Ben, because I know Tony Morris, who watches this, does give him a bit of help, and is trying to help him and Ben Curry actually with some riding tips. So mega happy for Ben Luxton. Brilliant podium. And in all fairness, anyone who stayed on in that Stock 600 race deserves a pat on the back, because it was horrendous, Ray.
Was that the worst of the weekend, that one?
I'd probably say for conditions for racing in, that was one of the worst. I was actually hibernating, talking to Nigel Snook in the FS3 hospitality. I suppose you could say I snuck in, but yeah, that's how heavy the rain was. I took cover. So I did see the race. I did keep up with it. I'm mega happy for Ryan Vickers and Ben Luxon. So them two get my ride of the day in the stock sixes.
Well, there's not many better places to watch a BSB support races than one of the support or hospitality units that some of the teams have, and invariably.
I must correct you. It is not hospitality. It is a clubhouse. Nigel Snook has informed me he does not like it being called hospitality. He likes to create an atmosphere where it's more clubhouse. So it was in the FS3 Kawasaki clubhouse.
Fair enough. Okay, I did not know that. So there you go. And that is also probably, incidentally, one of the either clubhouse or hospitality units or event centre or brand centres or whatever they're called nowadays. That's probably the place, probably near to the buffet area on the free sausage rolls where you'll find Kiko of a weekend. Or if they're serving black puddings.
That is just outrageous. You normally find me annoying some team owners asking for an interview and asking their rider lineup for next year.
Fair enough. We did do like a whole half-hour segment on like places to eat while you were in Italy the other week. So.
Well, I think we did actually, didn't we? That was quite bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have there's the small matter of the 14th round of the FIA MotoGP Championship this weekend from Aragon, of course.
Certainly, yes. The old thing there that I was totally prepared to talk about. Just press button on the old browser.
I'll you under the bus.
Yeah, that's fine. It's okay. I've done it to you enough times. The old Moto GP back in action.
We have news, big news.
Oh, big news. Is it big breaking news?
If you're finding out here, no disrespect to us, Lester, but this was released yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, the baseline of anyone should know more than me, basically. Considering I already did.
This news was out yesterday. On Monday and on Tuesday, Valentino Rossi tested an R1 Yamaha at Misano. On the Monday, he only did 8 laps because it started raining. And on Tuesday... Yeah. He did 20 laps in 2 hours. Valentino Rossi will attempt to race this weekend. Now we're gone 24 days. Excuse me, dinner's still going down. 24 days after he broke his tib and fib.
Tibia and fibia.
Yep.
Okay.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as like we knew that there was going to be. Let's call it like an evaluation test, which is kind of what it was. There was always the slight possibility, the door being open, because I mean, in my mind, he could. That's the sort of thing that could put anyone out for the entire rest of the season, probably. If it was me, I'd be out till 2019. But yeah, if he doesn't race, which basically nobody was really ever expecting him to dive back on a bike this early. Van der Mark's there anyway, and he did pretty well recently, which I'm sure you'll get onto.
We will come later.
But the old MotoGP then, and I suppose it's only right and proper that I ask you about other big potential rumours that you may or may not have heard.
Right. Well, there is a lot of rumours. One of them being who is going to take the final slot on the grid in MotoGP. Now, Avintia field 2 bikes. They've already announced that Tito Rabat will be going there next year. However, who will be his teammate? There are some rumours, and I can just confirm these are rumours. There has been no official announcement of late that it will be young Xavier Simeon going up to MotoGP from Moto2. Now that does confuse me. He's only ever won 1 race at a circuit that is renowned for producing new race winners at the Sachsenring. So I'm not so sure that's a correct move, but again, money talks. Avinti need money. They are on a very, very tight budget in MotoGP. So that would make sense if Xavier Simeon brings the money to the team. And I think he'd probably prove a few people wrong, me included, same as Loris Baz has. I don't think them...
Do you not like him or something? He sounded like totally bemused and befuddled
at the notion. I'm not going to rant on about this because I know I'm notorious for that. But I just do not understand why Vintia. Well, I do understand because they need the money, but you've got one, and anyway, with Loris Baz. All right rider. He's not bad. He's not Loris bad. He's Loris good, if anything. It's Loris Baz. He's not doing a bad job. Loris Baz is doing fine this year. He's had bad results, but he's had more good results than bad. He's had a top 10 in Austria. He crashed out 6th place in Misano. So, to me, it makes sense to keep him. But again, money talks. So, Xavier Simeon in MotoGP, is it deserved? I'm not so sure. He's had an atrocious year this year, Xavier Simeon. He has been awful this year. So, I don't know. We will find out, and I'm sure there will be an official announcement very, very soon.
I'm sure you'll be getting an email from Xavier as well.
Yeah, hate mail. I get a load of hate mail anyway, so just let that fly. Xavier Simeon is 21st in Moto2 this year, 16 points. Does that deserve
I kind of get your point.
There's other riders not going up, that are staying in Moto2. So it's obviously something to do with money. Someone's carrying a few extra spondoolies around and they shouldn't be. But, Xavier Simeon, who will have to prove himself, have to learn the MotoGP bike as well. New tyres for him. He's never ridden on Michelin's before in MotoGP. Stayed with Dunlops in Moto2. So Simeon would be interesting. Be the first Belgian rider since, I believe, Didier de Radiguez in 1991. So, but then again, we're having the first Swiss rider since 1997 in Tom Luthi. So, there's a lot of nationalities starting to come back to the Premier class. Be nice to see a Belgian name back in MotoGP. Just a shame, I think, that Loris Baz is going to lose his seat. And where does it leave Hector Barber, of course? He is the other vintage Ducati bike, and he is the lesser performing vintage Ducati bike. So where does that leave him? I'm not sure. Not so sure at all. Would it be World Superbikes? World Superbikes could do with a name like that.
If you think you have any opinions, if you think perhaps if you're tuning in, listening to us live, or even downloaded this as a podcast, because we do podcasts here on Motorsport Radio, then you can get in touch with us. Leave us a nice message at MSport Radio on Twitter. It's Motorsport Radio on Facebook, and all the places as well. We are our website as well, motorsport.radio. It's just motorsport.radio.
Yeah, pioneers in that domain, I believe.
Who?
You are pioneers with that domain.
Oh yeah. We're literally.
Do it because I know you're itching to get it out there, Lester. Go on, get it out.
It's slightly sort of like past the because it's more widely available to other people now. But for a couple of months, motorsport.radio was one of only a handful of websites in the entire world that owned a .radio. Well, we don't technically own it. The European Broadcast Union owns it, and they kind of rented it to us.
Did you just mention the European Union? You always have a go at me.
The European Broadcast Union. Calm down.
Or Brexit.
So anyway, right. So that's a bullet dodged. Point being, if you have any comments and you would like to disagree with any of Kiko's views about who deserves a ride next year, who is getting a ride in whatever and where and when it's going to happen, and who's coming back from fitness when and where. If you know more about the stuff that we're talking about, then it's not difficult, I suppose. Then let us know, because it's always nice to.
Of course. You can also let us know now this is a very important point. Let us know if you think that Valentino Rossi is doing the right thing in coming back. A lot of people do not think he is. A lot of people saying he's coming back too soon. He's out of the championship now anyway, effectively. So why would he come back?
Well, it's Rossi.
Send us in your thoughts. Do you believe he should have a ride this weekend? Do you think he should stay at home? Do you believe that it's quicker the better he comes back?
Perhaps if he does, and my own personal view, if he does come back, jumps on the bike, and is like, I don't know, towards the back because he's still injured, that would be worse for him. I don't think he could affect his reputation as such, but it'll be worse to do that. Come back and have a real bad performance at the back of the grid.
I think
just for the sake of coming back on a bike. I mean, it would be rather selfish of him. Because
and I do agree with that. I think Valentino is he's coming back too soon because he just doesn't want to risk not being at least in the hunt and regretting something later on in the championship year. Because don't forget, it is not unheard of for championship leaders to all crash out of a race, or for mechanical issues to hit the championship leaders. If Vinales, Dovi, and Marquez all have a disastrous weekend, and Valentino Rossi scores 9th, which is 7 points. He gains 7 points on them if they don't score. Therefore, you have to ask, that is worthwhile, surely. The other argument is Valentino Rossi comes back in his 14th, and the others are 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. His championship was done before the weekend, and it's cremated now. So, and if anything, he might have made his leg worse. If he crashes, and again, if he crashes, he might injure himself even worse. So, huge risk. There is no confirmation he is racing yet as well. He is going to try, providing the fitness examination is passed by him. He's still got to go to a medical like everyone else who comes back injured. So, Michael van der Mark may be riding. Valentino might get on the bike and F1 thinking, I can't do this. So, Michael van der Mark will be called up. So, let us know what you believe.
Indeed, yes. Do get in touch with us. Chris Howells has been on. Hi, Chris. Thank you for tuning in to us. He's asking, is there any news on what's happening with Brad Smith? Is he safe or is he gone next year? What's going on?
Well, Bradley has said that he's feeling the pressure. Watch Aragon. Mika Kallio is out this weekend, I believe. So if he does not beat Mika Kallio, do not expect Bradley Smith to be there next year. Very important point to underline here. Bradley Smith is not contracted to race for KTM for 2 seasons. He is contracted to ride for KTM for 2 seasons. Now, people think you're just changing one word, blah, blah. But what that effectively means is Bradley Smith is racing this year, but he may be a test rider next year, or he may be a development rider next year.
Yeah.
So he's not necessarily on this grid. His contract stipulates he is a KTM rider for 2 years. Ducati employ Michele Pirro. He is a Ducati rider. But is he in the championship? Of course he's not. So Bradley Smith might do the odd 2 or 3 wildcards, but he's a great test rider as well. He's great with feedback. Analytical skills are really good. So Bradley may be more valued and on more money at KTM if he was not in the championship. So do not think that Bradley Smith is automatically coming back next year. He is only contracted to ride for KTM, not to race.
So could it perhaps be a situation as unlikely as it might seem, but it's quite common in four-wheeled motor racing, where a driver has a contract for next season, but not necessarily a race seat, and they get, because of funds or whatever, another driver comes in and takes the seat or whatever. Instead, the team have got this valuable asset with a contract. Instead, they rent him out and put him in another championship with another team for a season or for a few races. Could that happen to Brad Smith?
It could happen where he just comes back for 4 or 5 races as a KTM wildcard, so he might get a run out at the British Grand Prix. He might probably get a run out at the Austrian Grand Prix, because that's, of course, KTM's home circuit. But if they're going to replace him with anyone, it'll be Mika Kallio, because Mika Kallio has done thousands of miles, thousands of laps on that KTM, the RC16 or RC17, whatever they're calling it. So he has the knowledge of that bike. He was 10th in Austria at the Red Bull Ring this year. So that was top KTM. So Mika is not just your average test rider, test this, test that. He's a racer. He's been in MotoGP before, so he's definitely got the race skills. So yeah, I don't think Bradley Smith is safe at all in his seat, to answer Chris's question.
One other thing that I wanted to touch on, because it's been a hot topic of late, which is 2 things really. I'll start off by talking about circuits, and another thing which is tied into a similar sort of subject. Is there any news or any developing rumours right now, Kiko, about MotoGP circuits, in particular 2018? Anything on the horizon that we might want to know about?
There is one circuit that's come to the attention of the MotoGP fans this week. Now, it's not really been just this week. It was earlier in the year as well. We know Thailand is coming on in 2018. Huge market for Dorna. But so is Indonesia. And can I just stress, and I did say this a couple of weeks ago, I referenced my trip to Lebanon when I met the Indonesian UN peacekeepers. They are MotoGP mad in that country. Like, it's their top sport. So Indonesia would be a logical step. It's a massive market, apocalyptically massive market for Dorna. And the rumour has it that in 2019 or in 2020, Indonesia will be on the calendar. It won't be at Sentul. That was the original plan. Sentul was the circuit that last hosted it back in 1997. Last time they actually went to World Superbike actually went to Indonesia as well. So it would be at another circuit called the Palembang circuit, which is in Sumatra. Now the circuit is insane. The plans they have for this circuit are insane. That place looks mental. It's so fast. So maybe Indonesia may come on. And like we keep saying, the Sokol track or Sokol track in Kazakhstan on the outskirts of the former...
Sorry, Kazakhstan.
Yes. No, sorry, if you're in Kazakhstan, we do apologise.
It's hugely disrespectful.
Yes, you racist pig. But no, if you're in the loop, or if you're a Jorge Lorenzo fan, you would have seen that last year he went to Kazakhstan, to Almaty, the former capital. Just outside of the former capital, Almaty, is the circuit Sokol. They are upgrading that. Kazakhstan has this plan similar to what Qatar had. It wants to get people there. It wants to make Kazakhstan a bit more touristy, and getting a big motorsport event like MotoGP may well just do that.
There's no way in a million years that there's going to be an event there, and to not have Borat as the actual face of the poster and the thing.
But anyway,
it's all right. I can see the advert and
that have been rumoured to be coming on the calendar. Some other news, some other discussion from MotoGP. It was Angel Nieto who was remembered in Madrid the other day. I think it was on Monday. I'm not so sure, Monday or Sunday. He was remembered massively in Madrid. A huge gathering, huge congregation of people down there in Madrid, remembering the 13-time champion, or 12+1, as he said. Very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very spiritual, very ritual. You know, he's got superstitious. That's the word I'm looking for. Very superstitious person. So that was that. Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso, back to Aragon, are going into the championship level on points. That I think that is the latest on in the season that we've ever had that. I know the last time I think we had it was in 2009 at Catalunya. With Rossi, Lorenzo and Stoner all on 109 points, but I believe that this is the latest on in the season where they've still been level. So that is a statistic worth looking at. In Moto3 and Moto2... Did you remember that statistic, or did you write it down somewhere? I've got it wrote down here. But
fair enough. It was just a very specific thing.
The Catalunya one.
The 109 point thing.
No, I haven't got that wrote down. I've got the Marcus Dovizioso one wrote down. Okay. But apart from that, in Moto3 and Moto2, there has been 7 different winners from 7 different races at Aragon. They may well be 8 come Sunday. The only Moto3 rider who has won there before is Romano Fenati in 2014 on a KTM. So again, another way you could look at it, another dynamic to the event. The next one, only Spaniards and Australians have won Aragon in the top class, in the MotoGP class, which is, if you're Andrea Dovizioso, something that you would want to break. So, again, another way of looking at it. Will we see more Spanish domination at their circuit? The Australian, by the way, was Casey Stoner. The only time that the Aragon Grand Prix has been won off of the first row, like row 2 and backwards, was Jorge Lorenzo. Won it from 7th on the grid, which is row 3, back in 2014. Apart from that, everyone who has won has either won from 1st or 2nd on the grid. Last statistic, there's never been a French winner across all classes at that track. So there's some statistics for you.
Okay.
The news, though, it came out in MCN the Saturday or Friday night, I believe, or Friday afternoon, that Jonathan Rea was supposed to be replacing Andrea Iannone next season at Suzuki MotoGP. Jonathan Rea straight away come out and said his heart is in World Superbikes. So that is an interesting dynamic. Now, I wonder what that would do for the sport if Jonathan went over and replaced Andrea Iannone. Interestingly, I think it'd be a good thing for World Superbikes. Fresh faced in, definitely got a different champion for once. So, yeah, I don't think it would be a bad thing really there. If Jonathan Rea was to jump ship, he's definitely got the skill and the talent. Casey Stoner was testing at Valencia.
Why?
On the Ducati. So that was across the weekend. He has successfully completed a day's testing, or a couple of days testing over there. Let me just have a look when it was. I'm not so sure when it was, actually. I know it was lately. Here we are, 2 days ago. It was 2 days ago, so Monday. So that's very interesting in itself. And there's been a new deal done with Yale, the forklift company. They are continuing, yes, I know, continuing to... or they've come to some agreement where they'll have some involvement in MotoGP. Last bit of news, Alex Marquez, who was injured at Misano, had internal bleeding. He's going to try and ride the bike at Aragon in Moto 2. We do not know how successful that will be, or whether at all that will be possible. So again, his championship looks like it may be going a little bit south.
Well, best of luck to Alex Marquez, and maybe he can do a Rossi, perhaps. Who knows?
Have we had any comments in while I've been rattling on, Lester?
I will briefly check to see if another comment flooded in. But no doubt everybody was mesmerised with your statistical performance, and nobody said anything. I don't know, my browser's slow and refreshing, but I did want to ask you regarding a bit of, let's say, gossip, perhaps. That's something that I saw on another website. I don't know how true this is. It is true, because it does have a quote on it, that's how you know. But Cal Crutchlow has been on to the press, and he says basically that not basically, he actually said that Michael van der Mark is not the right choice for Yamaha to replace Rossi, if indeed that's what will happen. Who is he to talk anyway?
Interesting. If I was Yamaha,
but
you'd want someone who's a little bit competitive.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But also you'd want someone who's got previous MotoGP experience, but that would be Alex Lowe's. But apparently Alex Lowe's turned it down.
Oh, really?
So that leaves you Michael van der Mark. If you look at Michael van der Mark's results in World Superbikes at Aragon, they're not actually too shabby. They're very good. He was 4th, I believe, in one of the races, and 6th or 7th in the other. So he knows his way around Aragon, and don't forget that Yamaha World Superbike is a little bit uncompetitive. But I don't think he's a bad choice.
Well, Crutchlow said in, I think I saw the quote on motorsport.com, so blame them if it's wrong. But Cal said regarding van der Mark, he's not fast enough. He was not as fast as Lowe's in the Suzuki 8 hours, and of course. Van der Mark said, yeah, it's an amazing news for him. It's like a dream, yada yada. But apparently, why? I mean, I don't understand why. Cal, I mean, I'm guessing that perhaps he thought he might have been maybe in for a.
No, Cal wouldn't be in for a ride. He's employed by HRC. But I don't get why he's bringing Suzuki 8 hour in. They raced Suzuka 8
Have them two got like previous or something? I don't.
No, they've never raced against each other.
That's what I mean. It's
just
an odd thing to come out of nowhere from him.
The Suzuka 8 was run on a Superbike, so there's no M1 Yamaha in that. It's an R1 Yamaha. It's on different tyres, and it's a complete different type of race for one. But believe it or not, they still won. And if Alex Lopes is turning it down, what difference does it make? Are you going to put Nakasuga on it? Probably not, because he's not going to be up the sharp end. Don't forget, Yamaha have sponsors. As much as they are a factory team who they can put whoever they want on, they have sponsors to meet. They have Movistar. Don't forget, it's Movistar's home race. I believe they are the title sponsor of this event. So they will want 2 bikes somewhere in the top 10. Nakasuga would not be top 10. So it makes sense to put Michael van der Mark, of course, Dorna won, a Dutchman as well. And, we're going around all the reasons. But Michael van der Mark is actually a good rider. He's in good form. Second in World Superbikes at the weekend, which we'll get onto later. I don't know why. This is what I don't get with Cal. He has this great thing of just, like, going and saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, or just saying something it doesn't need chatting about. Yamaha have made this decision. Alex Lopes is clearly happy with it, otherwise, because I believe he got the offer first. So Alex Lopes is turning it down. Michael van der Mark is the obvious next choice. Josh Brooks, could he have a shout or could he have a go on it? I don't know. I don't know what his contract says. I know it was actually ironic. Josh said to me at Donington Park at the start of the year that if Valentino Rossi's bike became available, it wouldn't matter because he's contracted to the team.
I'm sure every rider would say that at the start of a season, but realistically, I think everyone would.
Could he? I don't know. But, I don't think Michael van der Mark's a terrible choice. Again, let us know. What do you think? Who do you think would be a good rider? Do you think Zarco should have had the ride? That was a lot of tips on him.
I'm offering no comment at all whatsoever because I'm completely, totally neutral on this subject.
Oh, of course you are.
I genuinely am. To be honest, I don't have any favourites either way. To be honest,
should we do the top 5 in the championships?
What about the? I did have the standings here. Top 5. No, let's do the top 4. Sod it.
Top 4?
Yeah.
So Danny Pedrosa is irrelevant?
That would be the implication.
Okay. Right, top 4 then. We'll do 4th to 1st. Valentino Rossi, 1 win so far this year and just 5 podiums. And he is 4th, 157 points. He's 42 back of Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso, who are at the top. But it is Maverick Vinales in 3rd, 183 points, sorry. And then the top 2, as we said, Martin Dovizioso are on top of the world joint on 199 points each. But the top rookie in it all is Johan Zarco. Stellar season for him. 6th at the moment on 110 points. He's only 40 off Pedrosa and 47 off Valentino Rossi. Top Brit, Cal Crutchlow, 8th place on 92. So, all to play for there, I'm very, very sure of. But no, I'm not so sure. Cal Crutchlow has a massive say. He might be able to pick Danilo Petrucci in 7th, but I don't think it's going to be a top 6 season for Cal Crutchlow, unfortunately. Too many mistakes, too many poor results. Not enough podiums, I believe, this year.
Well, if you, as Kiko alluded to just a moment ago, if you disagree with anything he said, or maybe you have alternative opinions regarding Mr. Crutchlow or Mr. van der Mark, then do get in touch with us. And thank you very much to everybody who's stayed tuned in as well. You have done really well. Tony Morris was suggesting perhaps Josh Brooks. Regarding a previous thing that I've forgotten about that we were talking about. I'm guessing a ride for something. And he mentioned Colin Edwards or Colin X Woods on the M1.
That reminds me, some sad news now.
Okay.
Colin Edwards' dad has passed away.
Wow.
Colin Edwards Sr. So, quite sad news there, I think. So, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring that bad one in, but Colin announced that on the on Twitter the other day. So quite sad news. But again, it's been a rough year for bike fans in general, I think, this year.
Certainly. And we at Motorsport Radio and Motorsport Media, of course, extend our deepest condolences to Colin and the family. This is the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio. My name is Lester. Kiko Alexander Giles is here, and we will continue our talk and properly thunder into a bit more MotoGP and Moto2, Moto3 debate and discussion, perhaps, and maybe even touch on some world superbikes in just a moment.
Now. This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio, the Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.
Yes, we are here doing this usually every single week, and Wednesday is the, I guess, the most convenient day that we can probably both find a couple of hours to do this in, and I suppose that will be our unofficial home for the Superbike Show for the time being anyway, until we're no longer available on a Wednesday. It's myself, Lester Forbes, and Kiko Alexander Giles, our resident bike sort of expert, really, not sort of, but actual, real genuine expert who is here joining us and talking and imparting all his knowledge and gossip that he's heard over the BSB paddock.
Well, not all. I am sworn to secrecy on some things, so
I'm trying desperately to remember what you told me not to mention at the start before we went on air, but I've forgotten already. So
good.
It was about something, and he said don't mention it under any circumstances. I won't do it because I've forgotten. But yeah, so Kiko does get to I think mostly every BSB round, and when he's not in BSB, it's
in fact,
MotoGP.
it's going to be quite weird. Assen is the only one I'm not going to due to some circumstances. So I will not be there because, one, I'm skint because of KLM's
Are they the circumstances?
royal delay that they put up.
Oh yeah, you've fallen out with an entire airline, haven't you?
Yeah, KLM, useless group. But other airlines are available. Very wisely do use them, although KLM are brilliant when you fly them. But never mind. No, Assen is the only round I will not be going to. So I'll actually be watching it from home, which will be strange. But I'll be at Brands. Get in there.
Yeah, I think you've done well considering that you don't even drive, Kiko.
Do you know what? Here you are, Lester. Here's a little statistic for you. Another one. It took me 6 hours to get from Alton Park to home on Sunday.
Where's home? Mansfield.
Mansfield with us.
6 hours.
It's an hour and a half driving. It's 6 hours doing it the public transport way.
No, I don't think so, because it's only just over an hour to get to my house, which is just past Manchester. So, I mean, directly from Alton to go to my and Mansfield.
You're driving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Public transport.
Okay.
Here, guys, I'm going to bore you now. You can put this out as a separate clip, Lester.
Oh dear. Go on.
This is how I get to British Superbikes if I'm not getting a lift with someone. Self. This is what happened. I set off on Friday after only being in the UK for one day. Moved up to. I walked to the bus station, which is about 3 miles away from my house. Got on the bus, an hour and a half up to Sheffield. Gone on a train from Sheffield over to Manchester. Manchester to Delamere, which is...
Delamere?
Sorry, Stockport. Over to Stockport to Delamere, then a 4.5 mile walk the other end. You add it all up, including waiting times for the train, it's 6 hours. Or 5 hours on the way, because you have to wait an hour in traffic coming out of Alton Park on the Sunday. Big shout out to the Housel, Stefan Housel and Mark, don't know his surname actually, Mark, who is their lorry driver at Housel Marino Racing. So, yeah, big shout out to them because they gave me a very nice lift back to Delamere train station. So, much love over to you guys in Bolton.
Oh, well, yeah, well done. Never even heard of Delamere. No offence, but I haven't. Where is it?
don't know, somewhere near Alton Park. Well, not very near because it's 4.5 miles away.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay.
But no, it's that you must have heard of Delamere Forest, surely.
No, I don't go in forests. Why would I? I don't know.
No, I thought you would have.
Do I look foresty? We should talk about something else now. But yeah. So what was we talking about? Bikes. Oh yeah, God. Right. So we did talk about MotoGP news and speculation and rumour and stuff. We did briefly touch on some other bits of news. Is there anything pertinent and that you need to get off your chest regarding Moto3 and any Brits?
Not really. John McPhee. I just don't get it. I just do not get it. How has he held the championship for so long? You know, it's just problem after problem. You know, for him this year. Shows just how inconsistent everyone else has been. So yeah, John McPhee will go to Aragon, desperate for a result. He needs a result. He's staying in the same team for 2018, but it's just all gone wrong. He had such a good opening to the year, and it's just gone a little bit south for him since. So I'm not so sure how that's going to work out. Aragon. Hopefully, it'll work out reasonably well. So yeah. Yeah, Moto3 again looks like Joan Mir has wrapped this championship up. 246 points he has, and Romano Fenati is 61 behind him. It's not impossible, but it's going to be bloody hard. You know, he's got a huge gap to get across as Romano. He can't be won this weekend. That's one thing we must underline. Joan Mir will not win it at Aragon like Brad Binder did last year. But he's got one hand on it. At the moment, he can get one hand and a few more fingers on it, I think, going into the next round after Aragon 3 weeks later in Japan.
Yeah, what's the latest on Danny Kent? Where are things with him?
Danny Kent in Moto2. Well, we know he's going to come back on a factory speed-up ride, which is great for him. 2 years continuity, but he is unfortunately still kind of getting along. You know, he's not really got a proper ride for the rest of this year. Glad that he's back next year.
He's kind of stuck in sort of no man's land, really, isn't he?
Yeah, for this year anyway. He's just he's got to muddle along, get a ride here, get a ride there. Wild cards, don't mind. So yeah, Danny Kent, you know, he's got to keep bike fit more than anything. He must remain bike fit because, you know, having a year out and then coming back is difficult, especially in the modern day. You know, we've seen riders do it before. Max Biaggi, that was a good 10 years ago now. So, yeah, I think it's very important that Danny Kent stays bike fit, takes every chance he can get in either Moto2 or Moto3, of course. You know, he's done Moto3 already this year, so I actually think that, you know, I don't think he'll be too rusty, but he needs to, like we say, stay on a bike, trials bike, some sort of bike, no time like track time.
Exactly, and one championship that he and his brother are no strangers to is the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. You're more than welcome to come down and join us this weekend in Wales, Danny and Kieran as well. Both previously raced in the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Whilst Danny was world champion, popped over for I think at least one round last year. So that was good. Good of them. But yeah, why not? Brad Ray does it, and look at Brad Ray. So one day, Danny Kent, you could be like Brad Ray. Hey?
Max Cook has done a few rounds as well.
Yeah, Cookie.
He had a great battle with Brad, did he not?
He had a what? Sorry.
A great battle with Bradley.
But my mind's just a blur of stuff. But I'm guessing. But yeah, I'm presuming that they will be at. I'm not too sure whether Brad will be in Wales this weekend. I can understand him not being there, but
yeah, I can understand anyone who wouldn't go to Wales. But no, joking aside, no. Of course, we love the Welsh. Is there any rock bands on? What's your entertainment schedule?
Yeah, the Yeah, there's in terms of. See, I don't know what the internet signal is like there. That's my main concern. Whenever say what?
Have you not been?
I've been once to Glenagors, and it was a calamitous, hysterically comedic fail.
Oh.
And we ended up driving up what I think was like an old WRC stage up a steep thing with a big drop off, and we nearly died, and it started raining and we ran out of petrol, and we got to the circuit. And
don't go there. Stay away. Sit at home. Have an Horlicks. Have a Galaxy hot chocolate, black pudding, and bacon turnover. Have whatever you want. Just don't go there. It sounds like a death trap.
No, it is good, and as long as there's internet. Okay. Sorry. Well, these are things that people need to know about. What 4G's like at
Motorsport can be dangerous, but so can North Wales.
And so can not having internet, because people will kill each other without internet. So, yes, we were saying regarding Danny Kent, and
he'll be around in 2018 and 2019, so that's good news from him. But Moto 2, at the moment, it's Franco Morbidelli on top of the world, but not by a lot. It's only by 9 points now. He's on 223. Thomas Luthi, who steps up with Morbidelli next year into MotoGP, is on 214. That's a 9-point difference. Franco Morbidelli crashed out the lead at Misano, and it was Thomas Luthi who finished second. So all round, it was a pretty decent weekend for Tom Luthi. He's absolutely slashed the points gap. So that's the top two. They are off and running with this championship. It's Marquez on 155 points, and then it's Miguel Oliveira, the Portuguese rider, on the KTM. He's actually top KTM, 141 points to him. Top rookie is actually 5th place, Pecco Bagnaia, on 124. Great result from him. There is some news regarding that VR46 team. No Stefano Manzi there next year. That seat in that team is going to be going to Luca Marini, Valentino Rossi's half-brother. So Luca Marini replacing Stefano Manzi, and also Andrea Migno's left, has been chucked out unceremoniously of the VR46 Moto3 team. He's been replaced by Dennis Foggia. He's a young kid ripping up the CEB, I believe, at the moment. So Andrea Migno's without a ride, which shocked me because he's been brilliant this year. He's won a race as well. So, all change at VR46.
Okay.
I won't mention the top Brit. Well, I will mention the top Brit in Moto 2. Danny Kent, 32nd place with 3 points.
Yeah, enough said. So I have no further questions regarding Moto 2. So if you're done talking about it, then we'll move on, basically. So, I'll wash my hands with it.
Well, that's no need for that.
Well,
it's a bit extreme.
Okay, I suppose it is an advantageous point to swiftly segue into some World Superbikes, because they are back and they are still just about relevant to other stuff, I suppose. I was just slightly distracted with a comment that Chris Howells wrote regarding he says, a comment from Chris flooded in on Facebook. He says, ex-Moto3 rider Anna Carrasco. First woman to...
We're coming on to it.
Okay. Sorry.
We have not forgot.
Yeah.
World
Hold your horses, Chris.
Our schedule.
All right.
Stay on. We can't do it all at once. World Superbikes. Well...
Where do we begin?
What did I say?
I don't know.
My prediction was a Jonathan Rea double, and the outcome was a Jonathan Rea double. Johnny Rea is more or less world champion. If he beats Tom Sykes in the next round in Magny-Cours, the French round, he is going to be champion. It is as simple as that. Jonathan Rea is more or less wrapped up a 3rd World Superbike Championship, the first rider ever to win 3 championships in World Superbikes on the bounce. Of course, Foggy's won 4, Troy Bayliss has won 3, but this will be 3 on the bounce. So fantastic stuff for Ballymena and Northern Ireland, because that is where Jonathan Rea hails from. Apart from that, though, Tom Sykes, massive crash. If you have not seen it, go on Eurosport, go on the World Superbike feed. Massive accident, huge accident. He was coming out of turn number 7, dropping down the hill at Portimao. Bike, I think he said it seized or something. Just chucked him off, big fireball, and he was on fire. His elbow was on fire.
Yeah.
And I believe he's broke his wrist and his little finger.
That made the main actual mainstream news. That crash.
No, where?
Yeah, it did. It was. It was on Sky News where I first saw it.
Cool.
It was one of the sort of weekend sort of roundup things, and it was the basically the bike in flames and the fireball and him and stuff. And I thought, oh right, okay, that happened.
You take me back anymore. I'm going to be reversing to my wall here. I'll end up in my mum's room. That's unbelievable. I cannot believe that Sky have even given...
Well, I'm not saying they did a full race report. And,
no, obviously, but anything to do with bikes on Sky is almost criminal since they have F1.
Well, it was a spectacular crash.
And then, just when you think, Chaz Davies might be able to limit the gap and close in, he goes and crashes. Out second in race 2. So Jonathan Ray's just got a massive lead in the championship. I think it's 120 points. That's a long way, and there's only 6 races left to go. If he beats Tom Sykes by 5 points, I should say, if he wins and Sykes is second, it's all over for Tom Sykes. And it's all glory for for Jonathan Ray. So, but Sykes was out injured. He didn't race this weekend. Massive crash for him. But one aspect while we're in the World Superbike category, Davide Giuliano's future. So Italian Dave time now. He's here. I believe he is going to be in Qatar. For the ride, and also at the French round. So he has 4 more races left at Red Bull Honda 10 Karte World Superbikes. It's really make or break. Davide shot his bolt when he left Tyco, or when Tyco got rid of him, or when he failed to keep in contact with Tyco at the start of this year. A lot of speculation there. That is an interesting point to underline. What will Davide do for next year? Will he be a Honda rider next year, or is that why they're testing him? He had a reasonably successful test aboard the Honda post-Portimao. So that's interesting. You've got Gintoli, Silvan Gintoli, former World Superbike champion, of course, in 2014. Rumoured to be wanting, or rumoured to have signed for Puchetti Kawasaki. I'd said that we'd get onto it later in the top of our show earlier today.
Is that something that we've heard, Ari? You've heard from someone, or
I've heard from 4 people. I will not name them 4 people, but I've heard from 4 people.
Well, if it's 4 independent people, then
it is 4 very independent people. These people do not have anything to do with each other. So 4 people have told me that Silvan Gintoli has gone off to World Superbikes on a Puchetti Kawasaki. So that'll be interesting. Here's another. I do apologise for this, Lester. I only mentioned this on the sheet, but I didn't actually put why I wanted to mention it. The World Superbike crowd, I often...
go on.
I'm not going to drag Leicester into this because I know I'm very critical of the World Superbike crowd, and I'm actually awaiting an email. In fact, let me just check just to make sure I have not missed one. I have emails. It's about crowd attendance. Okay.
I did want to ask you about the this, and I forgot, and you've reminded me. So yeah, I'm going to ask you about crowd attendances.
Yes. I haven't got an email off Portimao, but I had one earlier, and it read like this. I asked their media and communications people, how many people were there across the 3 days at Portimao? Because
Is that the same Portimao that you said that only one man and a sheep goes to?
No, I said 7 people go to. Get it right, Lester.
Sorry.
And we are past Watershed, so I kind of took the piss out of Portimao a little bit, and I said, 7 people go, why would you want to keep it on? And then it actually looked a bit busier come Sunday, so I thought, you know what, I'll just inquire. And I'm going to start doing this for every round, so, I'm going to keep a nice graph for you, and then next year we can have a little comparison. 42,000. 42,000 people turned up across 3 days at Portimao. Well, I've done a little bit of research on why that might be.
Is that 42,000 paying customers or people?
That's 42,000 tickets sold.
Okay.
So if you say that's 50,000, because there's been about 8,000 if you include journalists, team owners, managers, passes, guests, I've had a little bit of digging why that might be 42,000. So first reason is paddock access. Portimao, like Donington Park, you don't need to have a special VIP pass to walk 10 metres up to the paddock. You can do it for free because it's in your ticket. Any full weekend ticket allows you into the paddock. So that's what we want. Another one. Over in this country, I think it's children under 12 that go free.
Something like that. 12 or 13.
12 or 13. Well, over in Portugal, it's children under 16. So that encouraged, I believe, a few more families. That opened up the demographic of people.
Why is it so young over here? Is it... Oh, money, yeah, okay.
Well, no idea, because one time you think, oh, it's nice to think, oh, save money, but then as soon as you think at 13, you're the same price as a 52-year-old, so God knows why. But children under 16 go free. It was very interesting. The race shows, there was a couple of hours race shows, discussion on stage, a paddock show, and it actually looked really busy. And Portuguese legend, well, not legend's an overused word, Portuguese hero at the time, was the only Portuguese rider really doing anything in World Superbikes, Miguel Pryor. He was on stage, he was talking to fans, and, you know, that undoubtedly would have helped. And it's very interesting. The Autodromo de Algarve, it is in the middle of nowhere. It's a little bit like Aragon in that respect. You're not really near a lot. So
it's a bit of a trek to get to then?
It is a bit of a trek to get to. So 42,000 people is not a bad little figure. And I'll check again my emails because my phone is a little bit slow tonight. I'm having loads of people message me about things. So we will have a look on here.
Yeah, while Kiko wades through his inbox of abusive emails from team bosses in BSB. The one thing that we briefly touched on that Chris Howells kind of jumped the gun. I'm blaming you, Chris. Was there was a lot made of.
I'll jump in. Don't worry.
Go on then.
I'll come in because I know we haven't actually got down to the last statistic. I wanted to get to in World Superbikes, but it doesn't matter. Anna Carrasco, fantastic World Supersport 300 race winner, the first ever race winner held by the FIM road racing scene. Now, not to confuse road racing with actual Northwest 200 Isle of Man, blah, blah, blah. But the FIM also have some control over speedway, stuff like that. So the first time ever on a circuit in an FIM-hosted championship, a woman won, a girl won, a female racer has won a race. So that is massive. That is going to inspire a lot of young girls who get into motorcycle racing and think it's a male sport, because do you know what? It isn't. It's about talent at the end of the day. If you're male, female, whatever in between, if you've got the talent, you should go racing. So brilliant stuff there from Anna Carrasco. And the way she did it as well, coming out that long right-handers, about 3 or 4 apexes on them little 300 bikes. They're brilliant. They look mega fast at the corners. So there, in the slipstream, straight down the outside. It was a proper bung fight down to the end, and yeah, she got there. She got there first ever female winner. Brilliant stuff. The one statistic I just wanted to get back to in World Superbikes, it's the first time since 2011 that both Yamaha riders have had a podium in the same season. And actually, in that year, both Yamaha riders won. So Eugene Navasi and Marco Melandri in 2011, Alex Lowe's and Michael van der Mark in 2017.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Just an irrelevant statistic, but nice one. That'd be a very nice one for Yamaha.
Just before I forget, and I probably will forget, so I'll mention it. The Anna Carrasco thing. I first was made aware of her achievement on Sky News. I think it was probably the same report later on the thing. As Kiko collapses in shock. It was. I was doing something else and paying attention to something else, but I specifically remember them talking about her being the first, and I was like, oh right, okay, because to be perfectly honest, she's not on my radar of ones.
Do you know what? I think a lot of people forgot about her because she was in Moto3 for a long time. And Maria Herrera is the new girl on the block for Moto3, so A lot of people wondered, oh, where's Anna Carrasco gone?
Yeah.
She went and did a little bit in the CEB on Moto 2 and Moto 3, but she's gone to the World Supersport 300 Championship this year, been competitive all throughout, and finally, quite rightly, deservedly, took her first race win on Sunday. Brilliant.
And also, if you'll probably be able to see for yourself if you Google her. She's also got herself, and to her eternal credit, the Rolling Stone have attributed a huge article to her as well. So they are noticing her iconic.
Because don't forget, as much as a female racer, as much as it's important to get a female racer winning, it raises the profile of the sport, opens it up to a load of new groups of girls that never really thought that they'd get to that level of circuit racing, where they'd be on telly and be these stars in their class. But Anna Carrasco has proven that can happen.
Yeah.
That just because you're female doesn't mean you're no good at bike racing.
Exactly, and there are many females who are, sorry to keep bringing it back to the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, but it is relevant because that championship is currently bringing lots of young female riders through. And it's Josh Watley's sister who is taking her first steps into Europe at the moment, tentatively. I don't want to put too much pressure on her because she's still young. And I'd say, yeah, good luck to her, basically, and also Holly Harris as well, and all the other female races, because there are quite a few actually that race and will be racing this weekend.
It was great. It was great to see young Jenny Tinmouth back in the paddock at British Superbike. So nice to see her as well.
What's going on with Jenny?
Not sure. Really, I'm not sure. I don't really know what's going on there. I know she lost her seat at Honda because I think Honda expected a little bit more, in all fairness to her. So, yeah, interesting, I know. But, again, there is more female riders coming through. Even before Anna Carrasco took that win, there was a lot of female riders starting to come through, starting to come good. You know, Charlie Oakland in the stock 600s. I know she's down the back end of the field, and some people might disagree with her riding because she's outside the 110% limit. But again, it shows that there is more female involvement in the sport, and you know that's great because for a long time it's been male dominated. And I've not got really a problem with it being male dominated. It should be talent based. It shouldn't be about whether you're male or female or how much money you've got. As long as you've got the talent and you can prove it, I'm all for you being on the grid.
Yeah, as long as the playing field is equal, and everybody has an equal chance of getting to the top flight and developing their skills as a rider, as a professional athlete. Then yeah, that's exactly how it should be, and that's that.
That is that, and you know, it's like we keep saying, it is great that that happens. It really is. It's great that again, the world championships as well. You know, massive world stage, massive people, like amounts of people watching it, or even though it's World Superbikes, but you know. Huge numbers, huge potential for numbers, and again, it's showcasing that females can do it. No one ever really doubted it anyway, but you know, for a long time, it's always been, well, they'll be a reasonable rider, but will they ever win a race? Yes, they will. Anna Carrasco's just proven that to us.
Will be interesting to see if maybe Anna herself can do the business again, perhaps if she goes back into Moto 3 or something, or maybe in World Superbikes, perhaps, because that could be an interesting development if she continues to develop and perform very well and beat people in World Superbikes. Because I mean, we've talked about it quite a lot on this show about how the Superbikes, the World Supers, need something basically to.
I think they found something though.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Something that begins with T and ends in Toprak Razgatlioglu. Toprak Razgatlioglu. That's easy for you to say. Go to the dentist and make an appointment. Turkish rider, protege of Kenan Sofuoglu. had a very, very good test. And actually, Jonathan Ray was surprised how good he was. He was fourth overall. So Toprak Razgatlioglu, a little bit like Michael van der Mark. He's one of them.
Who's that again? What's his name?
Toprak Razgatlioglu.
Should we call him Tim?
Well, it's not really his name, though, is it?
I feel like it should be.
Just call him Toprak Razgatlioglu.
Top Hat.
Because that's his name.
Okay.
Just say it again for me, Lester.
Yeah, the guy there.
Toprak who?
Thank you. Yeah.
Toprak Razgatlioglu. No, seriously, he impressed a lot of people at the test post Portimao race day. They were there on Monday and Tuesday, I believe, and he was fourth. Very, very fast on a Kawasaki. Jonathan Ray was quite impressed with him, actually. So there's another talent. And World Superbikes now, this is what you need. This is what you need for a good championship. You need 2 or 3 young riders coming in. You need established stars. And you also need returning faces that have done a bit of World Superbikes, gone away and come back. And they're getting there. They are getting there now. And I think if Toprak could get through, it's another potential for to challenge the British forces at the top of the championship right now. So I actually do believe that Toprak is not. He won't. Well, he might be. Could be a saviour of World Superbikes.
Sorry, I was just. I saw a comment from Tony Morris. Tony.
What's he said?
No.
No, go on. What's he said? Lester, you said you've seen a comment from Tony, so you cannot actually not say it.
Since he published it on the internet for all to see, he can probably... He suggested maybe we, as a better identifier of said talented youngster, perhaps we can call him Top Cat.
Top Cat? Okay.
If that's not too...
How do we...
If that, as long as that's not a slur on anyone.
I hope not. How do we sort his surname, though? Because we kind of sorted Keenan Softwoglu out early doors with Keenan Superclue.
Yeah, I suppose, but...
So what are we going to call him now? Toprak Spaghetti Ragu?
That's verging too much into the...
No, because he's not Italian, is he? So.
I don't know. Anyway, I feel like we should move on from...
yes, we should move on from difficult Turkish surnames. If you're a Turk, change your surname, because I haven't got enough time to keep learning your ludicrous surnames. But no, that could be another turning point in the future. World Superbike news, though, we are awaiting. Now, we was told way back earlier on in the year that at Portimao we would have... the technical regulations, announced by Scott Smart, who is the technical director of the series, we would see whether or not this control ECU does go ahead for 2018. Unfortunately, we are still awaiting them, so it actually doesn't mean a lot to me just yet. So I cannot give you any news there. We are still awaiting some information from World Superbikes about whether or not they will run this controlled ECU. Much debate about whether that's the right way to go about doing it. Steve Parrish was questioning it because, people like Kawasaki and Ducati and BMW have said, well, BMW very publicly have said that they would drop out of World Superbikes if they were forced to comply to this new ECU rule. So let us know if you think that is a talking point. I'm not going to give it much airtime because, quite frankly, I don't think it is a massive talking point. I think we're going to have an ECU, a controlled ECU anyway. So that's the one. We've already mentioned Anna Carrasco. We've also already mentioned Razgatlioglu, but we haven't mentioned that MV Agusta do want to run a 2-bike team next year. Leon Camier will be on one of them. We know that. But who would be the other one? Who would be the other one?
What have you heard? What do you know?
I don't know who the other one would be. Does not make sense to me. That bike is very old. Yet to have a podium, although it did come close on Saturday in race 1 at Portimao. But, I'm not too sure who would get on that. Maybe PJ Jacobson, because he rides the MV Agusta in the Super Sport class. So, I do believe that we may well be in for... another 2-bike team, another bike on the grid, another competitor, another rival to get up to the sharp end.
Just going back to the female talent of riders making their way through the ladder, I suppose, up towards the top end of motorcycling. Stephen Shepherd's been on. Indy's tuned in. Hello and welcome to Motorsport.
Thank you and welcome. Yeah.
Yes, he says our own Steph Wadlow, Super Teens champion in 08. Gives a shout out to her, and also Emma Jarman I'm guessing it's Jarman. In the BMCRC champion in 2014, have got the girls apparently coming into Cool Fab as well. So that's
Great.
good to see. So yeah.
Well, I mean, British Superbikes, as well as Jenny Tinworth, we had Kat Green in the 125 class. Very, very fast rider, very, very quick rider. But unfortunately, she had to retire through injury. So sad times. But it's great that now females are actually getting exposed a little bit onto the world stage of racing, because it's been a long time coming. We know they've got the talent, we know they've got the pace. It's just the support in getting them there that's been questionable over the years. So very happy to say that Anna Carrasco's got there. So has Maria Herrera.
And Maria Costello as well. She's been getting a lot of widespread media attention this year, not just for her, or this year, three-wheeled action on the sidecar, but she was also racing, I don't know if it was her first ever car race that she was in, but she did race as a celebrity pro driver in the Silverstone Classic. August, I think, end of July, sort of thing. And I was there, witnessed it. She unfortunately had car issues, which meant it just one of the motorsport things. But she was entered, and we were all looking forward to her. And she was there as a full-blown celebrity. So well done. Well,
BBC ran a very good documentary hosted by Susie Perry about the road races of Ireland.
Oh, the female
road races.
Right. Okay.
So, I think it's still on the iPlayer. So go and have a look at it. Go and check it out. Very good. Susie Perry's documentary. She starts at Cooksdown. The Cooksdown 100, the traditional opening of the road racing calendar at the start of the year in April. So a very good event as well. Should advise you all to go. Road racing is a little bit spectacular.
Well, with that in mind, and with our limited amount of time that we've got on the show, and your attention span, I know is not the world's greatest, as is mine, I should say. I feel like we should move on to one final bit of news. Let's say one final pertinent thing that I feel that we should definitely mention going into this weekend, which is, of course, as everybody will know, because I've been mentioning it all throughout the show, it is the 7th round of the 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship from Glanagors. I had a jingle and everything. It was
and best British championships for mini bikes. This is Cool Fab Racing.
Visual radio at its very best here on Motorsport Radio. Yes, it is round 7, like I said, of the 2017 Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship. Glanagors, hopefully, I'm desperately hoping that there will be a good enough 4G signal so we can actually do some live streaming of some such. But yeah, championships and some quite big names and BSB stars we are hoping will be racing in the championship. Quickly give you an update as to stars of the future, ones to watch, let's say. I don't want to go through all of the names just because there's so many talents. It'll take us ages. But the top 3 in the AC40 Pro Championship right now: Eddie O'Shea, Johnny Garness and Ross Maguire fighting it out in the AC40 Pro Championship. In the AC40 Rookies categories, Harrison Crosby, Luca Hopkins and Jamie Woodcock, who will be... I don't know if every one of the top 3 are going to actually be in attendance this weekend. I don't have an entry list. I'll suppose we'll know when we turn up there. But Junior LC40 Championship, and Casey O'Gorman, he's been an absolute robot. That is one name you will definitely know about in the future. He's like a pretty much he's like a mini Valentino Rossi. He's a metronome. Yeah, I mean, not to be disrespectful to the other kids who are racing, but he's just been super, super dominant. I don't want to jinx him. Don't say anything about Nkiko.
How's Ollie Walker getting on? Is he? I know he's done well.
You would know. Yeah, you would know. Don't make me dig the clip out.
No.
But yeah, Junior LC40 is, I would say, being battled out between Casey O'Gorman, Ross Maguire, and Evan Belford. But it's not really, because Casey's so dominant in it. There are some mini F1 sidecars out on track. Brad Ray has threatened to dive in one and be a passenger, or maybe even race one. I seriously don't think that will happen, given his performances of late. Maybe it's starting to sort of dawn on him that actually, he's
Ryan Vickers, will he be there? Because he was there at a meeting at Red Lodge.
I genuinely don't even know, to be honest. It will be one of those things. I mean, it will be, I think, Roger Keys who has the entry lists, and he will know who's already paid. Some people don't even turn up until the Saturday morning, which is adds a huge amount of frustration to the organising team. But yeah, the Mini GP50 category, Casey O'Gorman also races in that, and it also doing spectacularly well, way ahead of Corey Stainer. Evan Belford, another name to watch out for in the Mini GP50 in Cool Fab Racing. Harvey Claridge, Brodie Crockford, and Jay Abel currently slugging it out in the Mini GP70 category. Some big names in the championships. The pit bikes as well, one of my favourites, and it's Max Cook who's leading that championship at the moment, way ahead of Charlie Nesbitt, who they had a Titanic ding-dong on track at the last round at Wilton Mill, and they were kind of in a class of two, basically. Again, no disrespect to the others like James Rose Senior, who were also there and trying to beat them, but nobody could. Jamie King, James Blackburn, and Ben Pascoe racing in the Pit Bike 140 category. Is two categories of pit bikes, which is always great, and it's great to hear them as well. It's nice sound to those things. Yes,
Bradley Ray was the one who chucked himself on one.
Yeah, he regularly races, and he is often, I wouldn't say outclassed, but he's often given, and I don't know if he's just kind of holding back a little bit, but certainly a lot of the youngsters like Max Cook showing their talents and regularly keeping Brad Ray sharp in terms of racing skill and such in the Cool Fab Racing British Mini Bikes Championship, which is, by the way, free to get in. So if you're anywhere near, if you want to do something with the family this weekend,
well, the last of the year is at Donington Park, the weekend after the last British Superbike meeting. It is free, so go.
And it's the same weekend.
Donington Park is.
Yeah, Donington, same weekend as I think the Thundersport as well. So there'll be two separate events running at Donington somehow. Not figured out exactly how we're going to do it, but I think we're going to close the Melbourne Loop off and have that section just as the Cool Fab track, and the rest of the national part will be for Thundersport, and that'll be good as well. So yeah, that'll be good. So yeah, Cool Fab Racing this weekend, hopefully live, 4G signal permitting. But yes, Kiko Alexander Giles, thank you once again for joining us on another Superbike show. Tell us then briefly before we let you go to let you Chinese settle for the evening, how people can.
It's been settling for the last 4 hours.
I know we can hear it. But, how can people keep in touch with you and stalk you throughout your publishings?
You can follow me at MotoGP Kiko on Twitter. You can add me as a friend on Facebook, Kiko Alexander Giles. You can email me, but easiest ways are just to do it through Twitter or Facebook, as I'm always on there. So yeah, that's the easiest port of call.
Definitely is. And yeah, that literally does bring an end to another fantastic show, I would say. Thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in live to us. I think we've had over 1,200 people tune in live. We've had over 1,200 views on this live show, which is kind of extraordinary. And I would just say, yeah, I don't know who's actually tuned in, but it's amazing, really, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
I think most of it might be me spamming to all the MotoGP Malaysia groups that there are on Facebook.
To the Indonesian ones,
but sharing is caring, and don't if you've liked even 2 seconds of what we've done on Motorsport Radio, then feel free to share.
It was 2 seconds where we was quiet.
That was the best 2 seconds. Yes, that's what we've heard from. Yeah, and thank you to regular listeners as well. Don't forget, also, you can download this show, and for some reason, if you want to, take us with you in the car, which is usually good for travelling with. You can download it as a podcast, as an audio podcast as well. And we will hopefully be back next Wednesday, I think.
Next Wednesday to review Aragon, and to preview Magny-Cours and Assen, the second of 3 showdown rounds in British Superbikes. Can't wait for it. Going to be mega.
Exactly. And do sign up and join up to the Motorsport Radio website, which is motorsport.radio. You're more than welcome to join us on there. And that's really it. That definitely is it, because we're going home, and that's definitely it for the night. So good night all. Thank you very much for tuning in, and join us again next week.
Next week.
Now. This is Motorsport Radio. Join the conversation and have your say on motorsport-radio.com. Motorsport Radio. The Superbike Show on Motorsport Radio.